Welcome to Mysteries and Crime. I'm your host, Melissa Thompson. Today marks 37 days since Summer Moon UtahWells has gone missing. And on Sunday, July 18th, Candus Bly Wells, granted an interview to a reporter. And I'm going to go over that interview with you, exactly what she said, and give you my take on her interview. Okay, so the interview shows the last picture we know of that was taken of Summer, and that's in the back seat of the truck with her head lying on the milk gallons. Now, it starts off with the interview saying, quote, this is from Candus, quote, if you took her, just bring her back. You don't even have to tell me that you did it. Just bring her back. Say that you found her walking. I don't care. Just bring her back. That's all I care. End quote. Now, that little phrase, just bring her back, it kind of reminded me of Chris Watts on the front porch of his home. He goes, I just want him back. I just want him back. I just want him back. It's a statement when she said it that brought me right back to Christopher Lee Watts. And it was just something that I was curious if any of you guys, thought the same thing. I have so many questions with this family, but we shall go on. So pleaded Candus Wells late Sunday afternoon in regards to her 5-year-old daughter Summer, who went missing 5 weeks ago, seemingly vanishing within 5 minutes of last being seen. I don't understand it, the child's mother said. It don't make no sense. Candus recalled June 15th, the day Summer disappeared. Candus's mother, also named Candus, but whose nickname Candy, needed to see a doctor in Kingsport about her aching knee. She had an artificial knee replaced, and if you twist it the wrong way, it pops out and it hurts really bad. And she couldn't figure out why it wouldn't stop hurting after a while, so I took her to the ER that morning. After taking Candy to Holston Valley, Candus and Summer went to visit some family friends in Kingsport. Now we all know who that is. They invited me over to sit at their house while I waited for my mom to get done, so we weren't sitting in the hot truck. So I went over there, Candus said. Now, I will be talking more about that situation because, of course, I'm sure a lot of you know, Chris McDonough from the interview room did an interview with H, and I have so much to say about that. And Chris McDonough, you're a hero in my books. You gave a phenomenal interview. You're a great, great interviewer. After taking her to the hospital, they invited me over to sit at the house while I waited for my mom to get done. So we weren't sitting in the hot truck. So I went over there, Candus said. I was sitting and Mom called me to come get her, said Candus, adding that the 15-year-old son of her friend asked her to go along. I went and picked her up, and then we drove all the way across town and dropped her prescription off. Is anyone curious what that prescription is? Because I'd like to know. I am very curious what she received in that prescription. But let's go on. They said it'd be about 30 minutes at the most. So we were like, well, instead of sitting here in the car where it is hot, it was baking hot, we'll just go over to Warriors and let Summer swim for a little while. Like I said, we weren't even planning on going swimming or fishing or anything, Candus said. Now, H is going to give some discrepancies about that, but we will do that in another video, and I'm wondering if you guys are all thinking the same thing about that. So they went to Warriors Path State Park and let Summer and the boys swim in the cove just south of the park's horse stables. I figured 15 or 20 minutes in the water, run a little bit of energy out instead of sitting in the truck, Candus said. Before her disappearance of her swimming in the cove, there has been much speculation in social media about what happened next. According to accounts, Summer went underwater and the boy dove in to save her. Candus said that didn't happen. So we have a discrepancy again, you guys. H is saying one thing, that Summer went under the water, And he's not exactly sure on that timeline about how long she was under the water. But Candus is saying that never happened. So we shall see how that plays along in this scenario. In the video, Summer is seen splashing in the lake, then stands up to reveal it's only about waist deep. Now, Chris McDonough from the interview room said he went to the watering hole and he said parts of it, he says, is about waist deep, maybe 2 to 3 feet of water. But then he says as you go out, there's a big drop off. And he said he's not sure how far deep that is. But he said he's seen boats and everything in that water. So, I'm assuming that goes pretty deep there. The boy lied on everything that happened, Candus said, because the place I was at, there was no rocks. I'm finding that a little hard to believe, but okay. She didn't slide on no rocks and fall in the water. She wasn't under the water for 20 seconds or more, like he said. That was just a bunch of lies he made up. I don't know why he did that. There was no incident at all. They don't even make no sense why he would even say that. And the video that I took is the same exact time that they were in the water playing, Candus said. Now, in that video that she took for TikTok of Summer playing, I don't see H in the water. Do any of you? And according to H in his interview with Chris McDonough from the interview room, H said that he was standing with Candus, or, standing near her while she was scrolling on TikTok, and he was drinking a twisted tea. So I'm not sure if he actually really wanted to go in the water swimming and playing with her, or if he just entered the water to get Summer out because she had slipped under the water. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. If Summer had fallen, she'd just jump right back up. That's what don't make no sense to me at all. There's so many rumors and lies going around. None of it even makes sense. Couch police, that's what I call them. Okay, Candus? Oh, after the swim, it was back across Fort Henry Drive to Walgreens, then a quick stop at a grocery store. We went back and picked up my mom's prescription and then went to Priceless. I dropped off the boy after Priceless, and we come home. And then me and my mom, the boys were in watching YouTube like they always do. My mom says, let's rearrange and plant the flowers. She goes, well, we know the boys aren't going for Summer. She was in the house with the boys. She comes out, well, we know the boys aren't going to help us. I know Summer will. So I yelled for Summer to help us. She was in the house with the boys. She comes out and she was planting flowers with us, Candus said. The flowers were put in planters next to Grandma's candy camper, with Summer handling some of the tasks, Candus said. Sorry about that. She put all the rocks on top, put Chastity in there. She did all the rocks herself. We went into Grandmother's after we were done. She asked Grandma for a piece of candy. Grandma gave her a piece of candy. She told me she wanted to go back over with her brothers, so I literally walked her halfway between the camper and the house, Candus said. I watched her go to the door. I could see her brothers at the kitchen table. When she went in, I walked over and yelled at the boys. I said, watch Summer. I'll be right back. I got to fix Mom's knee brace. I was standing right there at the camper. I was over there fixing it, literally. You can see my house from the camper door. She did not walk back out that front door. Okay, this timeline is so darn frustrating. I believe it was more than 2 minutes, in my opinion. And if Grandma's knee was hurting so bad, why didn't she have the knee brace on earlier? Okay, now I may understand it might have needed adjusting. I have seen those things slide like crazy. So maybe that's a possibility. But she says literally twice in that statement, saying, you know, she could see the front door from the camper. So she's saying she walked her halfway, okay? But when we go over H's interview, she seems to have let the kids out of her sight a lot without paying much attention to them. But of course, that's, you know, H's interpretation of what he's seen from past behavior. But let's keep moving. Candus estimated it took maybe 2 to 5 minutes to fix Mom's brace. When I got done, I come back inside. I asked the boys, "Where's your sister?" They said she went downstairs to play with her toys. Mom, I said, "Okay." And I went and I hollered down the steps. I always holler for them down there. And she didn't holler back. I said, "Are you sure she's down there?" They said, "Yeah, she just went down there." So I went down there and I searched. I looked everywhere I could. Then I went through the house and I kept calling for her, yelling for her, everything. I came out here, outside, yelling for her, everything else, and she was nowhere. So I called Don because I was freaking out, Candus said. Don, Summer's father, was installing drywall at a job site in Jonesboro. I said, "I can't find Summer." "Get home now," Candus recalled. He was like, "Call 911. So I dropped my phone because I had to run over and get Mom's phone and dial 911 because her AT&T phone is the only one that works out here to call 911. So I called them and told them what's going on. Before the cops even came out, I went down and told my neighbors, "Summer is missing. Will you help me look, just in case she did wander off?" But I knew in the back of my mind she'd never wandered off. She never went nowhere without me. She'll ask me to do something before she even goes and does it. And she's scared to go in the woods herself because we've told her time and time again because of the bears and snakes, Candus said. I sent the older boys down through the creek. If they've got a walkie-talkie and their buck knife, they can go down through there. I sent all of them searching, and I went out in my mom's truck and went all the way down by the church, then went all the way down the other way, and I didn't see nobody even out and about, Candus said. Then I went all the way back in the holler, as far as the truck can go, and I didn't see nothing back in there either. When I was coming back up out of the holler, the cops were coming up in my driveway, so I just followed them up in here. I don't recall if Don was here before the police got here or if he was here at the same time they showed up, said Candus. We searched everywhere we could possibly search. They were out here for 3 or 4 days straight, searching 5,000 square acres. That's a lot of terrain to cover, and it's tough terrain. Those searchers are absolute heroes, in my opinion. They searched all this mountain terrain all the way down through here. They busted into my shed down there and destroyed it, she said. Okay, really caring about your shed, Candus. I think Summer is way, way more important. What really gets me is when they were searching for her, why didn't they make the neighbors let them go in their sheds and building and stuff? No, this is quite interesting, this point, because law enforcement said they did not need any search warrants to search any of the properties they searched. Now, I think if this was a major concern for TBI and the sheriff's office, I think they would have gotten search warrants if they had probable cause to believe Summer was in any of these locations. And as Chris McDonough said too, I would bet my bottom dollar that they went through the sex offenders list immediately knowing that Summer was missing. That would be the first thing that their suspects would be. So I'm leaning toward TBI thinking that, of course, this is not a stranger abduction, but, that's my opinion. Let's move on. Why didn't they make them unlock it? Some people were like, no, you can't search my property. Why would you do that? There's a missing kid. Why would you not let them search? It just don't make no sense, said Candus, who grew frustrated at times with the searchers. So next thing here we're going to go over, she's throwing the rescue workers, the searchers, and all of law enforcement under the bus. So she's passing the blame onto them. Of course she is. Nothing is their fault in my opinion, but let's move on. They looked in every vehicle I had, underneath every vehicle I had. Remember, this is a small child, so you have to look in every crevice possible that she could be. They opened that tote right there, and all it's got in it is a bunch of crafts and stuff. You couldn't even fit nobody in that if you wanted to. They opened that like 7 times. They even went so small to look in my mom's sewer tank of her camper. That hole's like an inch diameter circle. Candus gestured with her thumb and index finger. How did you get that 4-foot baby in that hole, she said. Candus said she thought the police canines would have had better success if she had been notified to corral the family's 8 dogs. Now, from what I understand, I've worked with rescue dogs in the past. I don't think the dog smell really is going to mess up this investigation. These dogs are trained to hunt for the human smell and, of course, blood. So if they really needed those dogs moved, they would have told her. So I think she's digressing here. But I think law enforcement has been doing everything right. And I'm pretty sure that they know what's going on in this investigation. And they're just waiting for some tidbits of information to come back to them. They just done some stupid underhand stuff, she goes on. When they brought the cadaver dogs up, why didn't they warn me ahead of time to find a place for these dogs to go? They just brought them up. Oh, you got dogs? You already knew I had dogs. They didn't pan out because you've got these 8 adult dogs wanting to smell all these new dogs. You just brought up on my property. So that's going to mess up the cadaver dogs because it's not going to know which way to go, Candus said. Again, I don't see that being true, but, this is Candus speaking out, and this is her opinion. So, I think she's going to pass the buck on to anybody she can right now because nothing seems to be the Wells' fault, but that's just how I'm looking at things, and that's my opinion, but, this family and this case is just driving me mad, you guys. Okay, so let's go. Summer's mother also expressed frustration with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. TBI kept questioning me. They asked me the same thing, wanting me to run through my whole timeline of my day. Yes, of course, that's their job. Because if you're lying, they want to keep going over and over your story. So if you're lying, they catch you in your lie. And they get every little piece of the investigation. They did that like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, you guys still don't get it. If I was going to lie, I would have to think about it. Not unless you rehearsed your story. And we have seen that in the past in cases. If you rehearse your story enough, you know exactly what you're going to say and you don't have to think about it. But, that's just another opinion. It just comes out. I don't have to sit here and think about what I did. I know what I did. I just spit it out to you 20,000 times, Candus said. A liar has to think up something. Now, if you guys, this statement is very interesting because Dawn says the same exact thing. A liar has to think up something. I passed my polygraph test and everybody is like, oh, you failed. No, I didn't fail. I wonder if law enforcement told her she failed. I mean, that is a tactic law enforcement uses sometimes, with their investigation. They are legally allowed to lie to you and say that you didn't pass. But I'm still curious if she did actually pass, okay? Because I'm still baffled about a bunch of things that went on. Because according to H, she called H from the back of a police car and said, "What did you tell authorities? Because I just failed my lie detector test." So I'm curious as to how many times she did take the lie detector test and if she passed at all. A liar has to think up something. I passed my polygraph test, and everybody's like, "Oh, you failed." No, I didn't fail. The first time I did it, they couldn't really do it with me because they threw me in the back of a squad car like I did something wrong and hauled me up there. I was already distressed over Summer being missing, and then they did that to me. So that just made more fuel to the fire and made me more upset. So by the time I got there, I was crying and shaking and just couldn't do that, Candus said. Well, we haven't seen her cry at all in public, so I wonder if that's actually true, if she was crying and shaking, or if, allegedly, she faked that. So she wouldn't have to take the lie detector test, ask H what's going on to make sure she did pass the lie detector test. But again, that's just another theory. Let's keep going. So they told me they'll give me a few days to calm down and get some sleep and stay off your phone because that's the worst thing you can do is be on your phone. And so I did that. And then I passed. It's not like I failed anything. People are like, "Oh, she failed." No, I didn't fail. The only people that had to do it were me, Donnie, and Mom. All three of us passed. They took the boys to a different place, some place over by Greenville somewhere. A child advocate or something like that talked to the boys. The boys pretty much told them exactly what I told them, and I didn't even talk to the boys, Candus said. Unless you had your story beforehand before you called law enforcement. That's something I was thinking about. I'm not stating that as fact, but that's a possibility. All the boys had to recall was Summer coming into the house and then going downstairs. Because they got so hooked on watching YouTube, they watched Minecraft videos on YouTube. I'm like, "Don't you guys ever get bored with that?" Candace said. They took my TV because it's hooked up to my Wi-Fi, like they're going to find something on my TV. It's like they're digging for nothing. They're grasping at straws and not really trying. Everything they did to me was backwards. They didn't shut down none of the roads until the next day. I mean, anybody could have been in and out of here and gone by the time they got down here. It takes them a good 40 minutes to get from Rogersville out here, she said, adding that there had been any recent contact from law enforcement. I haven't even spoken to them in like 2 weeks. You'd think they'd at least tell me an update or update me on something, but they don't even update me on nothing. I asked them to go check out all these barns and sheds that had been out here for years that anybody could be in, Candace said. I tried to get them to go check out this guy who was trying to camp out here and try to take over my neighbor's property. They were like, "Oh yeah, we checked him out." It's like they don't really care if they find her or not. Candace, I do not believe that's true. I believe this has affected every single person working this case. So, I'm not agreeing with you on that point. That's what it seems like to me, because we're poor, I guess. I guess if we had lots of money, they'd do better. I don't know, for some reason, TBI don't believe that she was abducted, Candace said. That's what don't make sense to me, because she's not here. She don't just disappear. I mean, I've seen movies where people just start vanishing off Earth, but them are so fake. But somebody had to have taken her. That's the only conclusion I could come to. She had to have either somebody snuck in the basement or she walked out the back. She'll come out the basement and walk around the house to her swing. She always did that. She's never wandered, ever, away from here. She never went out of this yard at all, Candace said. Neither the basement door or the lower. Half of the driveway loop is visible from the area between Candy's camper and the Wells home. The slope of the hill is too great and the house blocks the view. To compound matters, although there are 8 dogs on the property, they don't bark much. Candus was asked if they were good watchdogs. Excuse my language, but I'm just repeating what she said. Hell no, she replied. They're lazy. Anybody that came up here that could have fed the dogs down there, the lower part of the yard. These dogs are so friendly and love everybody. They don't know strangers. Indeed, contrary to expectations, the dog greeted this reporter like a known friend and hardly barked during the hour plus on the property. As hours tick by and more days pass, Candus can only wonder. Everything goes through my mind, she said. You will go about the what ifs. What if you did this? What if you did that? There's just all kinds of crap that goes through your mind. I didn't even know close that we even lived to these freaking sex offender people. There's literally one that could walk to my house in 8 minutes. I didn't even know they existed this close to my house. I don't believe anybody anymore. I've gotten to the point where I can't trust nobody because everybody I talk to either twists my words around or they do something. They put out more lies, and it's making it worse and harder on TBI to even find her, Candus said, adding that the stress is affecting her 3 sons as well. I can only imagine. I won't let these boys outside if I'm not out here. I try to take them out of here so they can get their mind off of it. And in the summer, that's all I can do with the kids because it's summertime. They're not at school, so here's a chance. When they're not at school, they get to enjoy themselves. When we go, I smile for the kids. I'm not having no fun. I'll get in the water with them, but that don't mean I'm having fun. Candus said of the constant knowledge that summer is missing. If you look at all the pictures, she was always smiling. They're always happy kids. I mean, they'll get into fights because that's what brothers do. But other than that, they're always happy no matter what they're doing. Wyatt tells me, Mom, I feel like I could have went downstairs and played with Summer when she asked. She'd still be here. I said, you can't blame yourself, son. I said, nobody knows what the next day is going to hold. They smile to put on a good show. But other than that, I know they're really upset. They ask me every day, is Summer coming home today? I can't answer that. I don't know. I find myself sitting out here until midnight or 1 o'clock at night, just hoping maybe that whoever took her or whatever happened, she'll come wandering back up the driveway to us, Candus said. Interesting interview, huh? And then H does his interview. And I'm been listening to it a few times, that interview. And I wanted to get this interview out here first because tonight Chris McDonough is going to do part 2 of his interview with H. And I'm sure we're going to get some more tidbits of information that's going to be relevant to this case. I believe that TBI, the FBI, are waiting on the information from tech to come back. And I already think they have in their mind what actually happened. They just can't move on that because they need the evidence. So today, Texas EquiSearch is going back out to search for her, and I'm so happy about that. Tim from EquiSearch, you are an amazing, amazing person. Your group helps so many families and victims that I think this is a great, great thing that you're doing. I hope you guys have some luck. She's got to be out there somewhere, you guys. She just doesn't disappear. What concerns me is the animals out there. Now, if the parents had something to do with this, again, that's just an if. I'm not saying they did. But if they did, they are not the sharpest tools in the shed. I don't believe that they have this elaborate plan to hide her. I think in some ways it's simple, stupid, the answer, and maybe we just haven't come across that information we need to find out where she is. Now, I'd like to know what all of you guys think of Candus's new interview and how she's throwing TBI, the sheriff's office, and the searchers under the bus. I mean, come on. That is horrible. These men and women are risking their lives looking for this beautiful child, your child, which they seem to care about more than you, Candus, and Dawn, but that's my opinion. And you're throwing them under the bus, saying that they didn't do the right thing. Yet law enforcement says that they didn't need any search warrants. And if they believed they needed a search warrant, I bet my bottom dollar they would have gotten one. So, interesting, okay? I'm probably going to be doing a video soon about H's interview with Chris McDonough. Chris McDonough, I know you're probably not watching this, but you are a true hero. I think you and your wife do amazing, amazing work. That interview was phenomenal that you did. You really, really got the questions out there. Anyway, I hope all of you are well, having a great week. And if you can, leave a comment down below, hit the like and subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of this community. Let me know what you think is going on in Summer Wells' case. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.